Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Ken from Bows Before Bros, back with another video. First off, before I jump into today's topic, I wanted to say thanks to all the new subscribers. Had quite an uptick over the past couple of months, so thanks for subscribing. If you like this content, please remember to do so. Also, thanks to all those that have been with us pretty much the entire time. And gone through this crazy journey with us that we call archery and the things that we do. So hopefully the things that you see that we do are helpful. And like I always say is, if you've got questions, comments, concerns, just comment below. We pretty much answer every comment that's a legitimate comment, and definitely try to do our best to help shed light on subjects, questions, and anything that comes up. So today, Josh and I had been talking a little bit back and forth. We've got a lot of interesting questions and comments about the two Levitate videos that we've recently put out. And we kind of realized that we didn't actually do a review of all the new upgrades and things like that. Josh did a comparison, so if you're interested in kind of our opinions and interested in our basic take on the Levitate, then stay tuned, check it out.
Blood spilt. Blood spilt.
All right, so PSE Carbon Levitate. Let's, before I jump into the specs, two quick shout outs. Number one, shout out to the guys at Straight Six Archery for helping Josh and I get our hands on the stuff we need for these bows. And number two, shout out to Traco Hunter. Hope you enjoy your new bow. All right, so specs on this bow. This bow, out of the box, weighs 3.6 pounds. Which is pretty much the same as the Mach 1 did. Axle to axle on this bow is 32.25 inches. The brace height is 6 inches, and it is IBO rated at 348 feet per second. It has an adjustable draw length from 27.5 inches out to 31.5 inches. And that's the down and dirty on the specs. So, over the past 2.5, maybe almost 3 months, I've been shooting this bow, spending some time with it, and I'll roll in some footage of me just kind of working with this bow. Some of that footage is at an indoor range, and some other, I think I've got a couple of clips of me shooting kind of in low light and also in some windy conditions. And so that'll kind of help give you an idea of how this bow performs. I'm not sure.
got it going.
So after spending some time shooting this bow, I want to talk about some of the upgrades and how they affect your shooting experience, at least in my opinion, or maybe in both Josh and I's opinion. The carbon layout of this bow has changed. They say it's called the dead frequency carbon technology for this new Levitate. What I'll say about that is this bow is actually quite a bit more dead in the hand after the shot, or there's little to non-existent vibration after the shot. And it's much quieter than it was last year. So it's quieter and pretty much little to no vibration. Also, this year they added this rear stabilizer mount. And a lot of people would say, well, that's really not that big of a deal, but it actually, for somebody like me that I like to run a back bar, and being able to just bolt that to the back of the riser here, it's nice to have a bolt-in place for your rear stabilizer. On this bow, so last year's, the Mach 1 didn't come with the tunable yoke system. As far as me, somebody, both Josh and I, that like to tinker on bows and tune, and we probably spend way too much time tuning. Having a yoke system to tune with is definitely far better, far more desirable for somebody like me to work on, rather than working on shims or even top hats or whatever you use as far as that goes. So the tunable yoke system is definitely a plus for me. Also this year, the limb pocket is wider, and I've noticed a little bit different stability with this bow. It seems to hold a little bit better for me, and it seems to kind of settle in aim just a little bit better, which is kind of nice, having this a little bit more stable platform with those wider limb pockets. I think that actually has a lot to do with the new cam, and also with this tunable yoke system, having the wider limb pocket. That tunable yoke is a little bit more responsive than it was when I upgraded it on the Mach 1. So that's a plus too. I think by far the biggest improvement on this bow are the new E2 cams. These cams, and I talked about the axle to axle length on this bow being 32¼ inches. If you go to John Dudley's website, or John Dudley's YouTube, or Knock on TV, he's got a video that talks about the string angle from this bow compared to his NTN 33, and it's exactly the same. He traced out the string angle, and I think it has a lot to do, and this is just my opinion, has a lot to do with the geometry of this new cam. There's a lot more length, or a lot more distance on the size of this cam that give you a little bit taller axle to axle. And it's, like I said, he proves it by tracing out his string angle. In addition to improving the axle to axle string angle, or however you want to put it, this cam, like we said before, like I said at the first of the video, it's the IBO rating is 348 feet per second. And we found it pretty close to be right on those speeds. The interesting thing that we found, and if you haven't seen Josh's video of the 80-pound Levitate, go look at that video and look at the speeds and look at the weights of arrows that we're using. He had a 600 grain arrow had 290 plus feet per second. So, and what we've seen is that, so when we jumped up from 600 grains to 650 grains, there was only about a 10 foot per second. In fact, it was less than a 10 foot per second drop in speed. So 50 grains, that's quite a bit. So my point to all of that is that this cam is extremely efficient. It comes down to our overview or review of this bow. It's everything that the PSE Mach 1 was, plus speed, performance, it's quiet, and more pleasant to shoot. So that, like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the performance of this bow. And like I said before in the beginning, we had there was a lot of comments about when Josh initially did his review and the comparison of the PSE, this carbon Levitate with the PSE Mach 1 and the Hoyt Ventum 33. The PSE Mach 1 and the Hoyt Ventum 33 were both at 80 pounds. And the Levitate was at 75 pounds. We got a little bit of kind of like pushback or a little bit of static on doing the review that way. We didn't do it on accident. We did it on purpose. And the reason why was because at 75 pounds, and if you look through our content, we pretty much talk about shooting 80-pound bows for a reason. We don't do it just because we can pull back 80-pound bows. We do it to get the performance out of being able to have a heavy arrow at respectable speeds. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because this bow at 75 pounds can do that. And the new problem that it poses for us, both Josh and I, is to actually build heavier arrows. If we're within that threshold of 280 feet per second, we're gonna be shooting the heaviest arrow that we possibly can. And if we're comfortable shooting this bow at 80 pounds, it looks like that arrow is gonna be somewhere around 600 to 650 grains. So, like I said before, that poses an interesting challenge for us. And that challenge might be finding arrows that spine correctly with that, and finding components that help us get us to that threshold without decreasing the integrity of the arrow. And also at the same time being able to be accurate and having a fixed blade broadhead tune at those speeds. So that becomes our next challenge with this bow. And like I said, I want to be 100% honest. I don't think that either Josh or I have tested a bow that's this light, that's this quiet, that's this easy to shoot, that performs at those speeds. And so basically right now, this is #1 contender for the Elk Woods. So if you've made it this far into the video, please remember to like, subscribe, mash those buttons for us, please. Also, don't forget, clean brakes and shoot straight.